Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, once said famously that if you have to say that you are in power or say that you are a lady, then you are neither. Absolutely right. Yeah, so you have these women who keep on claiming that they are strong and independent women. If they have to claim that, they're just trying to prop up their ego because they know that they are neither. They are not strong, they are not independent. On the contrary, they are weak. And what's important is who they are dependent on. And that's the kicker, okay? Who they are dependent on. Who rules them? Who's the person who really is pulling the strings of their lives? Yeah. So many of these strong, independent women, they claim that they are fighting the patriarchy or this, that, the other, all kinds of crap, fighting misogyny, blah, 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 blah. Well, what they really are is the finger puppets of political powers, feminism and the left. And these strong, independent women, fools that they are, weaklings that they are, dependent that they are, they don't realize that they are being played. Yeah, because so many of the goals of feminism go counter to what makes women truly happy. So many women think that they want a career. So many women think that they want to be a big shot, CEO, partner at a big time law firm or some crap like that. They don't realize that their inherent nature is pulling them in a completely different direction. These strong, independent women, right? If they were so strong and so independent, they'd be willing to face facts. They would be willing to face facts about themselves and their sex. And they would see the obvious truths that women do not want to compete in careers. Women want to care for children. That's what they really want. And you can see this in the metrics for nursing schools. Nursing schools, right? 90% of the prospective nurses are women. Only 10% are men. And what is it that the nursing schools are trying to keep men out, keep them at bay so it's just a safe space for women? No! Women are choosing nursing because they like it. It appeals to their inherent nature. These strong, independent women who keep on going on and on and on about how strong and independent they are, they can't accept this reality. They can't accept the fact that there are differences between men and women. But we're still, as far as I'm concerned really, is that they allow themselves to be used as puppets, as NPCs, by political powers that do not have their best interests at heart. And they recognize that these political powers do not have their best interests at heart. They see it. They see how these political powers, the left, the progressive left, and feminism, all over women, who decide, rationally, and because it's the best decision for them, to be housewives, to be homemakers, to be mothers. That's a perfectly legitimate decision. And yet they are upon by the feminist establishment, by progressive leftism, and these strong, independent women, what do? They parrot this opprobrium. They say awful things about women who decide consciously and on their own that they are not going to have a career because they don't want that. They want to have something else, something that's of value to them. And that's a perfectly legitimate choice, but it's the strong, independent women who consistently on such women who decide in favor of motherhood, who decide in favor of domesticity. The strong, independent women are the ones doing this. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you that they're afraid. Simple as that. Anybody who ever criticizes somebody, like obsessively and insanely and like, with some kind of like thing going on in their head, it's just an expression of fear. These strong, independent women, right? They are afraid that they are making the wrong decision. That's what's going on. And they look at other women who are deciding against what these strong, independent, career-minded women want, right? They're deciding against that and instead pursuing their own goals, their own dreams, their dreams of domesticity and a family life and children of their own. And they're wondering, these strong, independent women, if maybe that's what they really want. But they've made so many decisions that make it impossible to take that path. And all of their friends are such that, it keeps them locked in place insofar as their career is concerned. And so the only thing that they can do is just shriek like harridans at these women who truly are strong and independent in this day and age. These truly strong, independent women who decide to have children and to have a family life, they only shriek at them and scream at them. It's pathetic. There's this woman I met online, Christy Winters, right? She is a women's studies professor at some German university or something like that, right? I like her very much, and I feel a great deal of sadness and compassion for her, because she is one of these strong, independent women. She chose the absolutely wrong path for herself. She chose an academic life, and now she's approaching middle age. She has no children of her own. She lives this very lonely life, no family of her own, in a foreign country, and she's locked in her decisions. And she's strong and independent, but she's actually weak and dependent. She's dependent on her social milieu to give her life any kind of meaning. She didn't build anything with her life. On the contrary, yeah? She just went along to go along. And here she is, middle-aged, no children, no family, in some career that she doesn't even really believe, because that's the thing that I noticed about her early on in my interaction with her. She's going to protest this and say that I'm totally wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about. But the fact is that I realized from the first time I talked to her that she no longer truly believes what she says. She doesn't believe her own politics. She doesn't believe what she talks about. She doesn't believe in this nonsense of the patriarchy. And the only reason she's spouting it is because if she were to denounce it and tell the world that she thinks that it's a crock of bullshit, she would lose the precious little things that she has in her life. Her little circle of acquaintances and her little job at some university that doesn't pay her very much, and it's not particularly satisfying to her. But she realizes that she cannot denounce the nonsense that she no longer believes. She can't, because if she does, she will lose the little life that she has. And she's too old to start over again. Yeah, that's the truth of her. And it's a tragedy. And it's a tragedy I realized the first time I spoke with her. And that's why I've always felt such compassion towards her. And I feel truly sorry for her. I pity her. Because she is trapped in a life that she does not like. A life that she hates. She was strong and independent in her youth, and it took her down a path where she was manipulated by others into making choices and closing doors that she never should have closed. And now she realizes it's far too late, and so she has to stick with this bitterness and this horror of a life that she leads. It's a damn tragedy. And that's just one example, You look at all these strong, independent women, they are all miserable. They are all miserable, and they're all weak. Yeah? They never stood up for themselves. It just makes me sad, It just makes me sad. These women, man, they're talented, they're smart. They got brains, they got drive, they've got energy. But so misallocated. Just put into the wrong direction, for crying out loud. Strong, independent women. Whenever you come across somebody who claims that they are strong, independent women, or any kind of, any person at all who tells to you, chest thumping, like I've done in the video before, you can find it here. Whenever somebody claims to be some good quality, right? You know that they're just lying to themselves, most especially. And it's women who lie the most to themselves. Again, another video I did right here. Women lie to themselves much more than men. Yeah? They lie to themselves to soothe themselves. They lie to themselves so they don't have to face the horror of the life that they are living. A horror of a life that they chose, but that they realize retrospectively they were manipulated into choosing. That they were manipulated and maneuvered into making horrible life decisions. And this is the tragedy. The great tragedy of women is that, see, men, we can change directions. We can be going in the completely wrong direction all of our lives, or most of our lives, right? We can be in our 40s and have made horrible decisions. Horrible, right? But we can turn it around. We can turn it around and we can build something of value. A family of our own, you know, with loving children and a loving woman, right? We can do this. It's not easy, of course. It's goddamn hard if you're in your 40s or 50s, right? But you can do it. A woman can't. She crosses 40 and that's the Rubicon. No more family for her. And so many of these strong, independent women, yeah, they're past 40. And it's those women who go on hysterically about the fact that they're strong and independent. And they're vicious about it. They're vicious because you have to understand where they are coming from, see? Because they know that there is no chance to turn it around. You're a guy in your 40s or 50s even, and you can change your life around. Shit, even in your 60s, for crying out loud. I mean, Picasso had kids when he was 90, okay? You can always have kids. A woman can't. She crosses that Rubicon of age 40 and that's it. Lights out. Okay? If she didn't have a family, she's not going to have a family. She's going to be on her own. And think about it. Think about the horror of that, what that represents. To be alone in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s with no family. And your family, quote unquote, is just some strangers that you meet along the way. And you hope that they can care for you, and you hope that these strangers that you call friends might not turn out to be psychopaths who will do God knows what, especially as you get older. You get into your 60s, your 70s, you're not as sharp as you used to be, and you can easily be taken advantage of. This is the destiny of these strong, independent women. These strong, independent women who, you know, threw away their chance at having a family of their own, and double down on their horrible life decisions, and they're in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, and they're taken advantage of. And they are, you know, humiliated sometimes, if they're lucky, only humiliated. And if they're not lucky, abused dreadfully by low people who recognize what that woman is. And what that woman is not strong and independent. No, she's weak. She's weak and alone, with no family, nobody who will take care of her. And so they prey on her. These people who, you know, sort of like find their way into this poor woman's life, become their quote unquote friend, and then take advantage of her, you know. Get them to sign their pension checks over to them, their social security checks. Maybe start locking them up in their bedroom, maybe beating them. This happens all the time, for crying out loud. Low people do this all the time. Low people prey on these poor, lonely, weak old women who have no one. That's the destiny of so many of these strong, independent women. So whenever you come across a woman who claims to be strong and independent, feel sorry for her. Feel sorry for her, and, you know, have a little compassion and a little empathy. And ask yourself how it is that she arrived in this position of insisting that she's strong and independent. She was fooled. She was fooled, and more likely than not, she realizes she was fooled. And she realized too that it's too late to change. It's too late to change directions. When you meet such a woman who aggressively calls herself strong and independent, have a little bit of compassion. Don't just always attack her. I mean, look at her and realize what horror of a life that she's living. And more importantly, realize how lucky you are. She is an object lesson of how not to live a life.